So the government has obviously had to water down quite significantly its welfare reforms. The lead up to that came about as a consequence of bad consultation. My friends who work in the third sector were not very happy that they weren't consulted on welfare cuts. And one of the things I think was a little bit poor was the messaging. So 5 billion was to be cut from the welfare bill. What was slightly confusing to a number of people is that was taking place in order to fund things like defence spending. So the UK has made a commitment to increase defence spending to 2.5%. That wasn't really mentioned throughout the entirety of this debate, and it ended up centering around PIP and claiming and sickness benefits as well. So the three silver linings that came out of it from the LabourList editor Tom Belger were that the concessions that eventually came about do mean that people will be able to keep their benefits. That is a good thing, and in fact, Labour Party members are very pleased about that. Another thing that has pleased one of my friends as well, who could definitely be described as being on the left of the Labour Party, they said that it really does it does give a sense that there is still a left wing in the Labour Party. So that still exists, even though it perhaps felt as though it had been squeezed out due to the selections, the makeup of Parliament and the MPs, the prospective parliamentary candidates that were chosen a few months before the election in 2024. And then the third one, which I quite like, and I think you two will like this as well, it does show that parliamentary democracy is alive and well. There is political science students are taught wrongly, in my view, as a former politics student at Loughborough, I think are taught wrongly that when there's a big government majority, Parliament effectively becomes a rubber stamping exercise and all legislation just gets through without so much as a murmur. So that's what I think has come out of it, that is pretty good, but ultimately the bottom line is that it's hard to describe what happened over welfare over the course of the last few weeks as anything other than a disaster. And it also has led to, in my native Wales as well, has led to a lot of tension between the Welsh government and the UK government. The chief whip, Jane Hutt, who for those who are not familiar with Welsh politics at all, Jane Hutt is a formidable figure in the Labour Party here, and effectively the sort of quasi deputy leader of the Senedd group. She wrote a pretty furious letter to Liz Kendall. Some of the numbers in there are pretty shocking. So 14.7% of people in Wales claim these these out-of-work benefits, or PIP as well, which is an in-work benefit, and would have affected 190,000 people in Wales, and would have taken £450 million out of the Welsh economy, which for, in some of these are in some incredibly deprived areas, would have had an outsized effect on that.